Hi everybody, Bearded Rogue here. I had a lot to say about 2015 in general, so I figured I would record some vlogs since I haven't been keeping up with the vlogs very well. This has been an incredibly busy year from every direction. Work, home life, parenting, game design, um, other hobbies. Everything's been really, really busy this year. Um, so I figured I'd record a couple of videos about different aspects of this year and talk about it a little bit. And I wanted to break them up because it might be a little lengthy, as you know, I like to be lengthy, and because some of the aspects may interest some people and others other people. So I figured I'd kind of break it all up and let you guys figure out what you're interested in and what you're not interested in. Feel free to watch all of them. Feel free to watch none of them or only the ones you're interested in. It's mostly to get me back in the habit of vlogging and to record all of this stuff for posterity so that I can go back and look at it later myself. So this video specifically is going to be about game design for me in 2015, and 2015 is really the first year of game design for me. That's not entirely true. I did a lot of work on Elements, which is the card game that basically the first half of my year this year was all about. But this is really the first year that I put myself out there in the community. It's the first year I attended conventions as a designer rather than just as a fan. It's the first year that I did things like these vlogs or my podcast, Breaking Into Board Games. This is really the first year that I spent as a designer rather than just doing some design. So, it's been a very, very eventful year. Just to give you an idea of some of the things, this year I started the year with Elements as really my only prototype, my only functioning prototype, as it were. Now, as of this time, I have Elements, I have Dice Heroes, I have Build the Robots, I have a functioning design for a beat-em-up game, which needs some more theming. I have some loose design work on a game called Battle for Nebula 9, that was one of my pre-Elements design labors that I've kind of dug up. So it's been busy as a hobby designer. The first half of my year was almost entirely Elements based. I actually no longer have any of my really pretty versions of Elements. I only have the prototype versions left. All of my pretty versions either went to publishers for review, or I actually sent a copy to a gentleman named Dan Raphael that I met at Unpub, who really, really liked the game, so I wanted to send him a copy because he's been very enthusiastic throughout the whole process and has made me feel really good, like I can actually do this and be published, that my games are legitimately good for someone out there, even if they're not good for everyone. So that was a really big thing for me, was taking my prototype version of Elements to Unpub. That's one thing I can show you guys real quick. I don't think I've shown this on screen, but this right here is my prototype case. It is a photographer's case, so it's this big plastic bin, and then inside of it are all of these littler bins. and I use one or two or three or four, depending on how big the game is, to store each game. So this carries all of the prototypes right now that I'm actively working on. And I got this idea from Sen of the Bamboozle Brothers and Meeple Syrup fame. He had one, I can't remember what he was packing it up for, I think maybe Protospiel or The Gathering or something. And I immediately latched on to that, because before this I had random sizes of containers, and I was just trying to cram my prototypes in whatever they would fit in, and then put all those random containers in a bag and carry the bag. This right here, this briefcase of all of my games, has all of my currently active prototypes. Every single one fits in here. If I start designing more games, I'm going to need a bigger one, but I have a feeling that some games will rotate in and out of here as I test them or get them to different stages of doneness, as it were. But that's how many games I've designed at this point, or am designing, because design is never really done. There's just when you have to let it go. That's one of the things I've really learned. There's not really an end point with design. There's an end point for a game as a product, but not really a game as a design or as an idea or as an exercise. There's always something that could be changed or tweaked or improved, or so they're always works in progress, and these are all of my works in progress. I've been very fortunate this year. I took Unpub with me. I took Unpub with me. Listen to me. I took Elements with me to Unpub in February, and showed it off. It was the first time I really put myself out there as a designer. I'd had other people play my games, family, friends, the local game group, but I'd never had total strangers play one of my games before. So it was a very eye-opening and wonderful experience. I met a ton of awesome people there. Unpub was absolutely fantastic. Like, talking design with other gearheads, playing other people's games, having people play my games, being able to give advice and get advice, and design games over dinner. It was an absolute dream experience as a designer. I've already reserved a tag table for Unpub next year, which won't be till April, which is killing me that it's so far away. But I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know exactly which game I'm going to be bringing to Unpub in April yet. It depends on where I am at what stage with my designs. Right now I'm leaning towards Dice Heroes. I think Dice Heroes will show very well, and it's a game that needs a lot of playtesting and needs a lot of different eyeballs on it, because there's so many different pieces to it. Build the Robots may be the one that I bring. Build the Robots is really far along at this point. There's a few things that I've gotten as far as playtesting feedback that lead me to believe that there's still a way to go before I start pitching it, but the overall basic mechanic design of the game works. It works from start to finish. You can play the whole game without any questions or any interruptions or anything like that. There's just a little bit more finding the fun, and endings. Endings are something that I've discovered I'm not very good at in game design yet. When does the game end? Why does the game end? How does the game end? That kind of thing. So it may overstay its welcome with some of the lower player counts, and I think that's something that I'll get better at as I keep doing this and as I keep trying it. And I'm definitely looking for advice on end games, just in general. So if you watch this and you have any advice for how to design the ends of games, or how to know when a game ends or what the condition should be, that would be wonderful. I'd love to talk about that. Anyway, so both of those games are very far along at this point. Dice Heroes, I'm hoping to have a print and play built for January. January is my birthday month, so I'm hoping to actually have a full-fledged print and play that I can launch by my birthday on the 15th. so that I can share it with people and get feedback and everything. The initial print and play is going to be 4 classes: the cleric, rogue, warrior, and mage. And then I will probably include 1, 2. I don't know. I don't know how many dungeons I'll include yet in the print and play. I have 5 right now that are legit and ready to go for the most part. Kobolds, goblins, constructs, what else? Reptiles, and what's the other one? Cultists, the cultist deck. So all of those are at the very least, you can play them from start to finish. All of the mechanics work at this point. The heroes feel satisfying, the dungeons feel satisfying, so I'm more than willing to put those in front of people, but I don't know if I want to put that many in one print and play. I may break them up. Maybe that's what I'll do, is I'll break them up and let people pick and choose, and then I can see the download numbers on the different dungeons to see which ones are more popular. That's almost a brilliant idea I had right there while talking to you guys, which really just talking to a camera, but addressing you guys. You know what I mean. Anyway, so I hope to get a print and play of Dice Heroes out. The print and play of Build the Robots is already out there. I need to take a look at it and update it and tweak it and everything. I've been extremely fortunate in that the Wednesday night group of gamers that I meet with at our local game store, Two-Headed Games here in Kentucky, northern Kentucky, just across the river from Cincinnati. They've been willing to play my games almost every week at this point. We haven't been playing exclusively my games. Usually we play a published game and then we play a prototype, but there's been some nights where it's legitimately been my group plays nothing but my games, which is amazing how much design work can be done when you have playtesting that can be done that often. It's made a huge difference compared to Elements, where I was playtesting it, once or twice a month if I was lucky, or if I could rope people into it. Just because I didn't know how to even ask. And that's kind of what Elements did for me. Elements has not been picked up by a publisher. It's one of the sad notes as a designer for me this year, that it did not make the cut with anyone. I playtested it at Unpub. I ran it through speed dating at Origins. I brought it with me to Gen Con. A couple of different publishers have looked at it, but none of those conversations have gone anywhere. So I think it's pretty much dead in the water at this point. I don't think the game itself is dead. I don't think it's bad. I think I may need to take it back to the drawing board at some point to see what exactly it was that didn't work for people. The one thing I will say is that I didn't receive a lot of feedback from the publishers that didn't pick up on it or didn't bite on it, and that's discouraging and disheartening to me, because I really want to work with publishers and I really want to work in this industry, and feedback is absolutely essential. So to not hear anything is really painful. Even hearing meh, or hearing, well, we didn't like it at all, or, well, it's not right for us, or, well, we have no place for it in our line, or, well, really, you could improve it by doing this, that, and the other thing, like any kind of feedback. I don't care, positive, negative, whatever it is. I have received very good feedback, not like good as in positive, but good as in constructive and useful feedback from a lot of other people. Some of the other designers and reviewers and people like that I've shown it to have been really great about giving me feedback, and even recording play sessions, or not full play sessions, but the feedback after a play session with brand new players and all sorts of awesome things. Like, this community is really, really cool. I just wish that I'd heard more from the publishers themselves so that I had a better idea what criteria I'm shooting for with it. Regardless, it's mostly been shelved at this point until I get the enthusiasm to go back to it, because I'm kind of down on it at this point, just because it didn't go anywhere. Since then, I've been working predominantly on Dice Heroes and Build the Robots, and I've gotten a lot of energy and feedback and just enthusiasm back by working on new games. So I may go back to Elements at some point. I may not. It did what it needed to do. It got my foot in the door. It showed me how to put together a game, how to pitch a game. I learned a lot about that. How to attend a speed dating event, how to attend a convention as a designer, something I hadn't ever done before. It really kind of was that first step that I needed to take, and I wish that the first step had gone further into, contract signing and publishing and all of that, but I'll take learning a whole ton about this industry and how to get into it. So I still look at it as a very positive experience, even though it's kind of a downer that it didn't go anywhere. All my other games I'm really excited about. I'm getting much better at this design thing. Like, I'm being able to put stuff together that works faster. I'm being able to iterate faster. The tool Paperize, I got a beta for that midway through the year, and that's totally changed my life as a designer who works primarily with cards and has found a lot of the card-making software like Nandeck very obscure since it's all programming. Having a visual graphical interface and the ability to use spreadsheets, something that I do every day at work anyway, in order to produce games has totally changed my life. I would not be anywhere near where I'm at on any of these designs without Paperize. So check it out. I know there's a big change coming, and they've closed their beta for now until that happens, but it's legit one of the greatest things that I've had happen to me as a designer. It couldn't have come at a better time. It came exactly when I needed it. Let's see what else. Convention-wise, Unpub was fantastic. Origins, I did a speed dating event. Speed dating was great. I feel like I handled myself pretty well. I felt really prepared. I paid really close attention to what everybody said on all of the podcasts and in all the blogs and articles and everything about what you need to have. Sell sheets, business cards, a finished prototype of your game, an idea of what you're going to say. I had all sorts of problems before the event, but once I got to the event and had my game set up, I knew my game inside and out better than anybody else, and as everybody can tell by the fact that this video is approaching 20 minutes, I have absolutely no problems filling time with talking. So, I had a really good time at the speed dating event. I think it went really well. All of the publishers that I met were fantastic. Just for giving me their time in general, but a lot of them had really nice things to say about my presentation in the event specifically. Several of them indicated some interest in the game itself, but it only went a little bit further with some of them. As I said, none of them picked it up, but the speed dating event at Origins was a really great experience. It also introduced me to a lot of other designers who I now keep in touch with and interact with, the foremost of them being Ian Zhang. Ian is one of my co-hosts on the podcast that I'm on now, Breaking Into Board Games. As somebody who is a designer who is looking to break into this field, one of the areas that podcasts in our industry don't cover a lot, or don't cover as much as they could, is how to get your start, advice from people who are actually there, stories from people who are actually there. So it's part interview show, part, meet the people in the industry, and part lots of really good advice on how to forward your own interests in this industry if you want to publish or design or develop. And Ian, I met him there. He had a fantastic game that I playtested before the event. And he played my game as well later on, and we just had a lot of great conversations about design. I also ended up meeting Gil Hova at Unpub, all the way back at Unpub, and playing his game Bad Medicine, which funded on Kickstarter and was released to backers and is fantastic. And I got to play the networks with him at Origins. And I played it at 2, 3, and 4 player counts and loved it. And he was successful with that Kickstarter as well, and I'm really looking forward to having my own copy of that game. But Gil's the other member of the trio on my podcast. So Unpub and Origins this year allowed me to do a lot of networking and meet a lot of really freaking cool people. I spent a lot of time at Unpub with Tiffany Ralph and now Tiffany Carez and Steve, now that they're married. Congratulations, if I haven't said that on video yet, but that's freaking awesome. I'm so excited for you guys. But I met both of them at Unpub, and then I spent a lot of time with Tiffany at Origins, with her Rhino Hero cape, and that was fantastic to have people that I knew at conventions already and that knew me. Walking up and talking and saying hi to Stephanie Straw and Daryl Lauder and Chris Kirkman at the Dice Hate Me booth, and working in the Gamelin Games booth at Origins with Michael Coe and Ian Stedman and Nate. Fantastic. I love those guys. I'm so excited to get Hero's Call in my hands. I've got Tiny Epic Galaxies in my hands now, and I absolutely love it, and I'm looking forward to Tiny Epic West, and yeah, Gamelin Games rocks. Everybody involved in that company is awesome, and I was so happy to be a part of their origins. Then I went to my first Gen Con this year. I only went for one day, but I saw nearly everybody I wanted to see. There was no way in one day to see everyone, but I saw nearly everyone. It was a really cool experience. Gen Con is not my kind of convention, but I'm really glad that I actually went. It was great being able to see everybody, especially since I wasn't able to attend BGG Con like I had hoped. So it was the last time this year that I got to see a lot of the people that in this hobby that I really care about in person. Not making BGG Con was another downer for this year. Hopefully next year, we'll see. It is kind of inconvenient that Origins is almost always scheduled right on top of my anniversary, and BGG Con is almost always scheduled right on top of my wife's birthday. But we'll see. We'll see this year if I can make BGG Con. I probably won't be going to Gen Con this year. Don't hold me to that, since it's only in Indianapolis and it's not that far away, but it's not going to be a high priority for me. Unpub is already going to be happening. I've already got my tag table. And Origins is a necessity. I will be at every Origins ever. So that's going to happen. Those two are definites. BGG Con is a maybe. It's definitely the highest of the remaining conventions. Like, if I can only make it to one other convention, that's the one I'm specifically going to. Other than that, yeah, my podcast is awesome. If you haven't listened to it, I think if you've listened to me ramble this long, you would probably love the podcast. All of the episodes are under an hour, usually under 45 minutes even, depending on the guest. They all feature amazing people in this industry who do various things, whether they're game designers like Scott Alms, or publishers like Stephen Bonacore or Tim Fowers or Zev Schlesinger, or even developers and also designers like Seth Jaffe. Like, we're trying to get as many people in the industry as possible. We're hoping to expand into art and graphic design and bring on some of the amazing people like that. Adam McIver, if you watch this at all, we want you badly, because you've kind of been one of the graphic design art breakout stars this year with all of your work. So yeah, there's, So many people, like so many of my friends and people I've met, I want to talk to on my podcast, but we only do two a month, so getting everybody in has been very interesting. I want to talk to everyone all at once, and that's just not feasible. So. If we haven't had you on yet and you're interested, let me know, and we'll try to get you in as quickly as we possibly can, because we love talking to people. It's one of the most re-energizing things I have is to get on a Skype call and talk with designers and developers and publishers and other enthusiasts in the board game world and talk about board games and design, the industry, and all of that stuff. I absolutely love it. Let's see. The only other thing to mention is Vlogust, which, if you're watching this, you're probably already aware of Vlogust because all of the other videos on this channel, or at least most of them, are from Vlogust. I took on a challenge to do a vlog every day in the month of August, and I succeeded on that challenge against my own expectations. I was pretty sure I was going to drop out at some point, or I was going to miss a day here or there, or something was going to happen, but I actually managed to put up a video every day in the month of August, and it was a blast. I've been very irregular with my videos since then. I want to be more regular. I would like to have one a week or one every other week, so that's something I'm going to try to do in 2016. At the very least, I'm recording all of these end of 2015 videos, in order to try to spark myself into putting more stuff up, because I do like being in front of the camera rather than just behind the microphone, but finding the time has been difficult recently with everything going on. Anyway, this is probably where I'll cut this. This is my design video and what's going on in my design year in 2015. This was really my first year as a designer. This next year, 2016, I am guaranteeing that I get something signed. That's, maybe bragging, but I feel really good about what I'm working on now, and I'm so excited to get to conventions and get it in front of people and publishers, and I think I have some really, really good stuff at this point. So I'm really excited about that, but I think 2016 will be the year that, if I'm not looking at a published game with my name on it, at the very least I'm looking at a contract for publishing of a game with my name on it. That's my goal, anyway. So my other videos for 2015 are going to cover games. One of them is going to be specific games this year. I'm also probably going to do a video about wrestling this year, and I don't know, I may do a video about other random things, but we'll see. Either way, this has gone on long enough, so thank you if you watched all of this. Thank you if you watched any of my videos, or listened to any of my podcasts, or played any of my games, or even said hi to me at conventions this year. All of you are appreciated, and thank you very much for everything. So, Bearded Rogue, signing out.